a sophomore. The high school was only 3 years, sophomore, junior, and senior.
Right.
So it was 10th, 11th, and 12th grade. Because before that, you were in middle school. Okay?
Yeah.
In the 9th grade, you were in middle school. So when I was 10th grade, and I got thrown into these classes, which I didn't do very well, except I was in a geometry class. Everybody took geometry in the academic part of the school. And I didn't get it.
It went over your head?
Yeah, I couldn't get geometry. And I was so mad at myself.
Because because math had come easier to you before?
Yeah, it's math. Algebra, come on. You could do algebra blindfolded. Anyway, and it was like nothing that I ever had before. So I think I went a couple of weeks really frustrated. And then I spoke to Dave about it, and he was in college.
At engineering school?
Engineering. And I said, Dave, I'm just having a lot of difficulty with this. Can you help me? And he told me something. I don't know what it was. In 5 minutes, I caught it. I understood it. Wow. It was 5 or 10 minutes. I said, oh, shit, that's it. Anyway, I went back to school, and I was in class. There was a guy who was teaching, an older fellow, and we were doing a math problem, and he was on the board, and a geometry problem, and I gave him the answer. He said, Elliot, he says, all of a sudden you're so smart? And I said, I think I catch it now. So he put another problem on the board, and I answered that question. And another one. There was like 3 or 4 problems. And he said, wow. He said, here, come here. Sit in the front seat. But better yet, he says, go sit in the back. He says, you see those dummies back there? These were kids who were either in the general classes or the commercial classes.
Right.
And they didn't get math at all. So he said, I'm leaving, Elliot. He says, take over the class.
And you did.
And I took over the class, and I used to skip most of the classes because they were just beyond me. I mean, I was beyond them, I should say. And I used to tutor these dummies in the back of the class. And anyway, I got an A for a 99. I said, I can't give you 100. I'll give you a 99, because it was always numbers. It was never A, B, C, D. And from there, I went to calculus, and then from there, I went to trigonometry, and then I went to another class, I don't remember. And every one of those math classes, you had to pass the state regents, an exam.
Yeah, you told me this.
Dave told you this?
You told me this.
Oh, I told you. That's the exam. Well, and the exams were 1 to 100, a mark of 1 to 100. So I'm pretty sure that in a trigonometry class, no one got under 95 in the class. I think I got 97 or 98 or whatever. That's my math experience at Erasmus. Erasmus was, if you were older, you'd appreciate because I learned to appreciate later, the architectural.
I've seen it.
Oh, you've been there?
I have not been there. I have looked at photographs of Erasmus. I have watched video on YouTube of Erasmus. I've watched the history of Erasmus. I have looked at Erasmus on Google Earth, and it is one hell of an impressive building considering it's like 300-year-old property.
It's from 1790s.
Right, it's a very old property.
And it's all concrete.
Right. And you could see in the middle where the oldest part of the property is, the oldest building. You told me about that. I went and looked at
Went
it.
back to the 1790s.
Right, I looked at it online.
Anyway,
It's super impressive.
right.
A lot of history.
So there was a lot of lawns. There were lawns on either side of that old building.
Yeah,
And then the buildings were added on.
right.
So if you wanted to go from one building to the next, even though they were next to each other like this,
Yeah,
you had to go down to the first floor and walk over because they weren't connected.
right, right.
Or if they were connected a couple of times, you had to climb up to a different floor level.
Right.
Okay, in order to go to class. I used to have nightmares about
Really?
finding classes.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know what the hell they were, what
Right.
buildings they were, or whatever.
And you got 12,000 students. Not all there at the same time, but still.
So, but at least 5,000 are there at the same time.
Right.
I mean, it's a,
Massive.
and it went
place.
from one major block.
I've seen it.
Foppers
It's enormous.
Avenue to Nostrand Avenue.
Yeah.
It's
Enormous.
huge.
Yeah.
And next to it was the yeshiva,
Yeah.
the Brooklyn yeshiva, which I didn't even know at the time.